All right, it's the eighth meeting. Hard to believe it's the eighth, but it is. Let's get started with a quick review of what I did in meeting 7. See, it'll slide me right in. I talked about key upcoming start dates. Now, I'm see if I can Georgiaize it for you all. How about that? Um, in general, public universities and states are open now. So I'm sure Georgia State's open. How are we doing on the Georgia State application? You guys, are you guys doing that?
Yes, University of Georgia.
Will they allow you to be residential?
Yes. Yes.
Would you mind me exploring? Would you mind if I do some offline exploration for you?
Oh, please. Thank you.
Get the fee down. I'll see if there's any catches there. Okay. I just thought about that. All right. Also, we talked about our top picks out here in the West. If you're they're away from California, they're affordable, new and unique experiences. No essays or recommendations. People are showing up now. They're quick applications. On UC, those who are doing UC, it opens September 1st. Cannot be delivered until November 1st to 30th. Students should start with essays, 250 words each. We did this 2 weeks ago. You must start now. I said then, now's a good time, I guess. No teacher recommendations, more on that later. Very good writing skills are required. I had a great conversation with one of the UC upper admissions people at San Diego, and they're having a little difficulty in deciding who should get in and not. And I guess they're going to double down on how the essays are being written. So have that in mind. That's a pretty important thing I learned there. I kind of suspected they don't have SAT scores anymore. More on that later. The Fafsa I talked about last time, it opened on October 1st. So I talked about it last time. Once you've ordered your Fafsa usernames and passwords, you can email me at holythinkers@gmail.com, request a data sheet. We will file the first 20. We're right on target to file those too. Due dates start December 15th, so don't panic. One thing that's your enemy in this process is panic. And the thing you want to do about panic and stress is do something to remove the stress, take away how much work it is one way. You can make it easier. Sometimes, if you're like me, you make things hard, a little difficult for yourself. Just back off on the expectations of yourself, or just check the due dates. Here's a case where, December 15th, it's better to do it right than rush and do it wrong. That's always true. CSU, UC, and most California privates are due by March 2nd. Look at that. Every year, colleges will say that the earlier you file, the more money you'll get. It's not true. I explained that last week, and I hear it all the time. It's just not true. 2 ways that you'll just to pick a college. I won't take you through that again. We went through that last time, but just to show you the schools that we like. In CSU, we like these 4. And I gave the criteria for why I like a school, what makes me like a school last time as well. What makes a good school for EEP. If you want to, that video is available. But here's the results of that. Grand Canyon, Biola, and Seattle Pacific are Christian schools. While I'm there, there's a really great Christian college fair on tomorrow night out in Pasadena. Some have already said they're going out there. It's really nice. If you want to get out with the family, have a little dinner in Pasadena, go to the fair, let me know. Christian colleges are really looking for Black students this year and are going to really provide great scholarships to ensure they get good quality Black students. Keep that in mind. That's always a possibility. There are private schools, so that's not a problem. You just need to, if you have good grades, it's definitely an option for you. So those are the 3 Christian colleges we like the most. Boise State is our out-of-state school that we put a lot of students in. And of course, Howard and Tuskegee are 2 of my favorite Black, I should say HBCU. Maybe, remember, HBCUs are private schools. The other Black schools I call traditionally Black colleges. They are actually state schools, public universities. I make that distinction. There's some good ones there too, but these are the 2 private HBCUs that I like the most. Then, of course, Howard and Loyola Marymount, we have good connection with as well. Okay. I think Loyola Marymount's coming soon to a session, is my instinct, right, Quinn? Or are we trying, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We're doing so much. All right. They're coming up. Don't worry. We're going to have them in session really soon. Okay, here we go. The new stuff now. It's about 16 view graphs, not a lot, but good stuff. What is submitted with applications? Yeah, everybody knows submit the application. And in fact, sometimes there's a little too much work on the application and not enough work on the essay. Essays are 90% of the work on applications. Okay, sometimes more actually. But we spend a lot of time with have you fill out your application. I've had students literally work on their essay and fill out the application in 30 to 45 minutes and deliver it the same night once it's approved, once we've reviewed it, okay? The Cal State University system, what do they get with an application? Basically a self-report of the high school grades. And that's it. There's nothing else that CSU applications require. If you get a counselor that says you need more than that, hate to be one to tell you this, you got an amateur on your hands. All right. No essay, no recommendations, no transcripts, no SAT scores. Now, sometimes CSU will ask you for it in the review process, but that's a little different, isn't it? It's them asking you for it, right? That's how that works. What's submitted with the application? Look at UC. Self-report of high school grades. That's right. You self-report your grades to University of California. You'll have 4 essays called personal insight questions. I gave the requirements form earlier. Remember how many words and everything. So the UC application goes to UC. There are no teacher recommendations. Let that sink in. No transcripts. So you can go to Berkeley without a teacher recommendation. Please understand that. I know a lot of people think that's not true, but it's not true. In fact, if they get a recommendation, they're supposed to not consider it and throw it away. No transcripts. And I mean, you can go to UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego, and didn't provide the first transcript. It's all self-reported grades. There are no SAT scores because the UCs and the CSUs, it's not optional. They're not even going to read it. If you send them a score, the portal is closed. They won't see it. They're not even looking at scores, even for statistical reasons. So they're not looking at scores at all. I heard it again this week. I had to call the counselor at the school and get that straight. They didn't believe me. The counselor did not believe me. They were upset with me. They called me back and said, yeah, you're right. They're not. That's right. UC and CSU. I felt sorry for the students in that school that they're getting counsel like that. It's not required. Any questions so far on what I've covered? Because sometimes there are, because this is an area I'm getting calls and texts about a lot this year. All right, let me continue. The lack of test scores, that's a typo, I gotta fix that. The lack of test scores probably makes UC even more selective, and that's true. The UCs were very brutal last year because they didn't have those test scores to fall back on. So a lot of really good students who normally would have got in didn't get in because they're not even looking at test scores. So it used to be when you have 4.2 and you had a reduced SAT, we all knew you weren't going to get into UC, but they won't know about that this year, will they? So what if they make the wrong judgment at that point? Okay. So the lack of test scores, sorry about that, I'll fix that, probably makes UC even more selective. Let's continue. Let's talk about private colleges. Let's talk about Common App schools. How's that? That's true with private colleges too, but right now let's focus on Common App. The SAT or ACT scores, teacher recommendations, the sealed high school transcript, including college classes, sealed also. The Common App essays plus the supplemental essays. That should be Common App essay, by the way. Why don't you note that typo there too, Quinn, if you can. They all are submitted in the Common application. Somebody said, Deacon Wilson has finally gone crazy. He's saying that the teacher recommendations are submitted through the Common App. Well, they're not submitted by you students, but they are submitted by the teachers. You're to put the teachers' email addresses in the Common App. And Common App, even before you deliver the Common App, will send them an email each week reminding them. You can make me the other recommender. Hint, hint. Hint, hint, other recommender. I'll get it right away. I love writing those. Notice I'll turn mine in right away, but your teacher may not. And that's the way you monitor it, through your Common App. There's a way to look and see if teachers have submitted their recommendations. Because guess who's responsible for the teacher recommendations? You, the student, are responsible for the teacher recommendation. Doesn't seem fair, does it? What's going to happen again with transcripts? Transcripts are the same way. If the transcript is not received, parents, the student is responsible for that, and that application will not be reviewed. Some cases, they'll remind you, and some students and parents have erroneously thought that means they have to remind you. No, they do not have to remind you. Then somebody said, well, how would that? I see you, Sister Woodard, hold on. Then some said, well, how will you know? How will you know that you need to provide the transcript? It's on the website, and unfortunately, they're holding you responsible for what's on the website. But you all have an important resource, and that's me. And I'm telling you that private schools require the transcript. Now, I will stop for a moment and take a question from Sister Woodard, who is fantastically gifted in the question area. Go ahead.
Well, Farron has a question. My daughter.
Oh, okay.
Wilson.
All right.
Thank you for.
All right.
Thank you
for Farron. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this particular session. We really appreciate your sharing is caring with this information. Go ahead, Farron.
My question is that I have multiple recommendations from my principal and counselor.
Yes, ma'am.
And do I submit that in the portal with my essays, etc.
In the application.
In the application portal?
Well, that's a very good question, but I'm gonna blow your mind with. First, I'm gonna step back and say there really is not room for a counselor recommendation. I would make the counselor or other recommender. That's another one. That's number one. Number two, there is a space for a counselor report, and your counselor should know about that. It's in once you log in the Common App, they can go on there and look at it, and they can add the counselor report. Now, I should stop and say this, and I think I have somebody here from Bishop Montgomery. Oh, the Lambays are here. Wonderful. Listen very closely to how I answer this question. How do I say this? Okay. Depending on the experience of the counselors with the Common App, they don't know things about the Common App that I'm going to tell you today. So be very careful, because it changed about 4 or 5 years ago, and some of them didn't keep up. Now I have to, so I'm out here in the field being shot at, right? All right. So here's the deal. There is not a portal to upload letters, because if there was, like there was 10 years ago, they would be open, the system would be open to fraud. You could type the letters yourself. So they stopped that 10 years ago, because there were major scandals with that. So there is no way to upload letters to the portal. That's why you're seeing some scholarship programs that don't allow that anymore. Let me stop there and see if there's questions on that first, on what I just said. Farron, did that part, that there's not a portal in the Common App come through?
Yes, she heard it. So her question now
is, okay,
how does she?
Yeah, I was going to do that. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Well, here's how they're submitted. Ready? They're not submitted by you.
Okay.
Put the email address of the recommender in the appropriate section. Hey, Quinn, you look at that thing all the time. Hey, Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it a lot too, but you look at it more than me, probably. Isn't it like right up front where they ask for the information, like the counselor and the recommender, and you put the email address in there?
Yeah, it's one of the first few steps in like the personal information. So.
All right. So Farron, if you need a session, you want one of us to come in the homework club and visit you, we can cheat and come over there when we know you're in there, and we come in there and show you.
Thank you.
That's really the answer to that. And what you'll have to do then is, excuse me, the sinuses, is you'll need to get the teacher's email addresses.
Email. Okay. Well, they go in there,
And those teachers have already written it. They should be all too happy to forward them that way, right?
Yeah, and they put their phone numbers, address, and their email on the letters.
But that's not going to help you
Oh, no,
here.
I hear you though. Put the
You need
email
the email address
on
in
the
the Common App. And
in
then
the
you can tell them
okay.
that letter you wrote, I really appreciate it, but could you forward it through the email that Common App sends you? They can upload it that way. They upload it by clicking a link, right? By clicking a link in the email they'll get from the Common App, not from you, the student. Common App will automatically send the letter when you put it in there. And you don't have to submit the application for that to occur. It happens right away. When you log out, boom, it sends that email. And just, I would let the teachers know they're going to get it. Now, what I thought you were going to ask, oh, let me see if that answers the question. Did that cover how to submit them? Submit those recommendations. It's through.
Yes.
Right.
So just submit it with the email addresses and send your teachers, the dean and principal and your counselors an email today that they're going to receive this. Should Chief send all the schools, Deacon Wilson?
Why not? I mean,
Okay.
put the email address in of the recommenders. You put them in, and they will get an email from Common App, and every school will get the recommendations. Now, it's actually not completely true, but if you accept the concept first, concept of the teacher sending it, not you. That's the concept here.
Right.
Okay.
Deacon Wilson, are you familiar with the Black Common App for HBCUs?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. What's the question? Yes, and what's the question?
Is that the same process?
No.
Oh.
Well, sorry, I had to take a bite. You guys making me hungry. I'm breaking every rule, Quinn. Sorry, I know. Quinn's gonna talk about me, and
you're on YouTube.
No, we understand.
I hope Christina doesn't get mad at me. Anyway, so the Black Common App was meant to be, you send one application, you pay one fee for all these schools. But it's not all the Black schools, first of all. Second of all, some schools will still ask for that fee.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that sink in first.
They'll still ask for the who?
The fee.
There are a lot of schools that you thought were on the Black Common App will still ask for the fee.
Did they ask?
They'll do it later. Not now, they'll do it later. You'll be aggravated.
Oh, really?
They'll do it after you think they're reviewing everything.
Really?
They get
Okay.
the transcript, they have everything, then they're gonna charge you. And you're gonna
Okay.
be mad because it was Common App. Now, if you want, me and your husband get together, get a black man, and never mind. I shouldn't say that. But that's the way it's gonna work, okay? That's why Black Common. Now, the other stuff is similar. It seemed like there's no recommendations on there, though. I don't remember seeing that on the Black Common App.
The way that his counselor explained it, it was like she could do it automatically.
She
from
could do
her.
it.
Yeah, that she could automatically, if he applied on the Black Common App
Because
then she could. But I need to clarify that.
It's because she has that. The name escapes me. Sister Lambert, are you hearing me?
Yes, Deacon.
What's the name of that software that the counselors have? I'm drawing a blank, where they can see into the Common App and they can put recommendations in. And I think they have it at Bishop. We both know it, but we can't remember it.
Right.
Yeah, I know you know, because you had two other girls. You had another girl go through. Two other girls. All right, well, we'll think of it. But there is a software package, because we thought of buying it for the church. We want to use it at the church. That's why I know about it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but there is software that allows them to do that, and I would defer. Maybe they're going to use it with the Black Common App.
Okay.
That being the case, they'll put the teacher recommendation in for you. The principle is still the same. You're not going to see that recommendation.
Right, right.
The whole point is to keep you from reading it. And for the recommenders to have the freedom to say what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And you should desire that. You know what I do when I do a recommendation? If I'm writing a recommendation, first of all, I don't agree to write one if it's not going to be good. In fact, I have a conversation with the student if they had if they asked me to do it and I don't think it's going to be a good one. Now, when I write the recommendation to submit it, I send them a copy.
Yeah.
I don't care with my bad self. I'll let them see what I said because it gives them a unique time to see what I think about them.
Right.
How many chances do I get that? How many chances do I get to say that your son's a hard worker? He's not a typical student that I see.
Is it ambient, Deacon?
Say it again.
Ambient?
No, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Ambience. The software?
That's one of them.
Okay.
But there's another one. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on. I'll think of it later. This is one of those things where it will drive me crazy. So I know. You ever had that happen?
Or maybe Naviance.
Naviance. That's it.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
Naviance. So it might be Naviance, Sister Relaford.
Okay. Okay.
That helps. And that's also a valid response for Sister Woodard. Maybe they're using something called Naviance, which allows them to organize the submittals. In that case, the teacher definitely should submit it to her. Does everybody understand this? I thought this would be a graph to provide a lot of valuable question and answer for people. And I'll include the video. Maybe I'll ask Quinn to take out the part about me eating. She probably leave it in there. All right, anybody have any questions about this? Okay, I guess we got through that. Anything in the chat there I should know about? I think we're cool, right? Okay, so out-of-state public universities work the same way. Now, they work the same way in varying levels. They don't come through the Common App, but look at the things that are required. Varying levels of these things, these three things are required for some out-of-state schools. Now, no test colleges, I'll show you on the next few pages, there'll be no SAT scores. Do you notice how I show SAT scores here? Because I think there's no such thing as test optional. But if you have some understanding of the process, think your student can get in, go right ahead. There are test optional schools, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But it depends on the school what that really means, and you never really know till you actually get into the process. But you can submit applications to a lot of schools without test scores, that's for sure. And I think a lot of them will consider you based on your record. That's what I think. But I don't want to discourage students who take the SAT from submitting scores. That's why that happens, okay? Let me see if who's asking me questions here.
Well, I did notice on a couple of I think Hampton's website said if you put in test optional, you're disqualified from any
Scholarships.
scholarships.
You know,
Yeah.
I was going to say that, but I said it last week. Howard, same way. So at HBCUs, Tuskegee too, they'll tell you, hey, you can submit your, this is true of majority schools. Let me take my time with this. Okay. The only thing this doesn't, what I'm going to say that I know does not apply to is schools that are no test and the Ivy League schools except for Cornell. Okay. So you can, Ivy League schools are a whole different bag of worms. They're all different. They're just different. But HBCUs and most other privates, even the test optionals, will be glad for you to apply for the school and don't submit scores. They'll consider your application, they'll admit you. But they often say you can't get merit awards. So that's kind of like a dog chasing a car, catching up to a car, right? What does he do when he gets there? He can't do nothing. Because you can't afford the school anyway, and you need those merit awards, then you should submit some kind of scores, at least to be in consideration for some kind of merit. But the way you put it, I think is right for HBCU, Sister Relaford. I think that's correct. Was there a question on that though? So you know I'm going to ask Sister Relaford. Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, yes, I'm here.
I'm going to ask you, did he do the SAT?
Yeah, he did the SAT and the ACT.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
Love to know how he did, but we can do it offline. Okay, good.
okay.
Okay, cool, cool beans. So you got the memo on that. Very good. All right. And that's true for private colleges, the Common App, but down there I have the out-of-state public colleges. They don't get the Common App, but all this stuff is true, okay? On varying levels, right? I'll say more about that later. So in regards to the Common App, our SATs scores, this is a good transition, ever really optional. Remember, every one of the Ivy League schools will look only at SAT grades, but that's not true with other privates. I think that they'll go ahead and accept your application without it. But if you're a 4.0 student and there's 1,000 other 4.0s and 800 of them took the SAT and 600 of them did very well. If that is a very selective private school, I feel that the students, I know from talking to people, that the students without the scores might be put on the wait list, right? That could happen. Now, remember I said in the Ivy League, the only school that happens is Cornell. So no, they're not really optional. Remember, we just covered the money part with some schools, be careful. Don't withhold scores though, if you have them. If you don't have scores, submit what you have. You're already in the process, go for it. And usually I don't want students stopping, and this is almost November, and worrying about the SAT and adding stress. If you do, we do have prep for the December test. That's very good and could be very helpful if they want to quickly take the December test. How do you know your scores are not high enough? You don't know. Remember, there are plenty of no test colleges, right? And I'm going to show you. Go to fairtest.org. You'll see a nice list of no test colleges. And on these next 3 pages in your presentation, I have a list of no test colleges. No test means not test optional. They're not even going to look at the test. They close the portal. Okay. There's one school that's a notable miss here, and I guess fairtest.org missed it, and that's George Washington University. It does not even read the SAT. Okay. They've not read it since 2010. But these are some of the schools here that don't read it. There's some more there on this page here as well that do not read the SAT at all. Notice University of San Diego was here at the bottom of the list. They were just in our session the other night, and they're a favorite school of ours. They don't read the SAT as well. She probably mentioned that the other night. Reed College is a pretty prestigious school, does not read at all the scores. The Ivy Leagues are not officially listed because a student could submit scores, and they claim it doesn't affect the process. So I'll let you take your situation individually. If you talk to people, then you can still do that. There's no law against applying without it. How do students' transcripts get to colleges is a fascinating question. Well, there's 3 ways. The student can send them. However, precision matters. I'm going to show you how to send them. Many private high schools and some magnet programs with control issues, I think I said that to some parent here today, that some schools have control issues. They want to send them for you. We'll do it for you. Well, that requires follow-up, I think. You got to follow up. And we'll talk about that. Well, I'll just say it here. You just have to get them to, maybe they'll send you proof that they sent them, right? They should have some kind of proof in the office. Because I don't want to see you in the middle. You get to March and they said it never got, transcripts or transcripts. And now you're in the middle of the school, says they sent them high school and they said they never got them. And remember, once they take on that responsibility, they're responsible for it all the way. Many high schools highly suggest third parties like an organization called Parchment to send the transcripts. I mean, I think like if you're in Culver City High, they love Parchment. Inglewood's good, they love Parchment. Different school districts love the Parchment organization. They're an online transcript provider, but your school has to sign up for it in order so they can reach in the school records and send the transcripts. So third parties like Parchment will send the transcripts. Now, I found that over the years to be highly effective. I mean, it is highly effective, and you don't have to worry about address and envelopes. Typically, there is a charge to Parchment that the school districts will pay for you. They started doing that during the pandemic. I hope they're still doing it now. If they're not, it's about $4 per school to send the transcripts. If you pick up transcripts from a school, they're usually going to charge you a small fee to produce the transcripts for you and to seal them and all that. And this is another thing, if you have a lot of schools, that could add up. So keep that in mind about this transcript process. How does transcripts get to colleges again? What's the best way to send transcripts? All right. Well, I think express mail. I think Federal Express. I think priority mail. Those are expensive though, so maybe just priority. Priority mail isn't that high actually. The Postal Service should be sent, the priority postal service one and the express one, I guess, should be sent with, we get a destination tracker automatically with Express. When you send it priority, ask for a destination tracker. It is not anymore. They just make sure they click the button when you're ordering it. Then you can go online and trace that package all the way to the admissions office. Do not use certified mail. Please don't like to get a letter back when they get it. Don't do that because it goes to the mailroom. Mailroom will say that they got it. They send it back to you. But now if it's a bigger school, you're depending on a gift from that mailroom to the admissions office. And remember, they might not even know it's a transcript because you didn't do the address to the envelope right. Who knows? We'll talk about that in a minute. Don't use certified mail because depending on other people to forward it to the admissions office for you. I highly recommend against that. Well, how do you address the envelope? There you go, right here. College or university name, attention, Office of Undergraduate Admissions, transcript review. The word transcript being in this line is powerful because if it gets lost, people will know it's a transcript in there, right? Address, city, state, and zip. I sure hope that this page helps and that you'll use this in sending your applications. It's pretty important, okay? Sometimes it comes up, how does this process relate to the due date? Well, it's going to be the postmark date. So you're going to say you're mailing on the due date. Say the applications are due on the 1st, like for early action for a lot of schools is. Well, then you got to get to the post. I like to see you in the post office on the 31st, and you need to get a postmark. And you need to ask the person at the desk, at the window, hey, this is for a college. Could you make sure it's postmarked for the day? And usually they'll postmark it right in front of you. You know, if you don't, they'll just throw it in the bin and they'll do it later. And sometimes they won't get to it till the 2nd. Please be sure that they're postmarked by the due date because a lot of schools will split hairs with you over that, the determining who's early action. Okay? And remember the transcripts on an early action application, the transcripts, all essays, and need to be with the application. Get this, the recommendations don't have to be complete by then, but you should be asking your recommenders to get those in because the school will drop you a note, hey, we're ready to review your application. We just need the recommendations. That's a shocking thing to get. But so you want to have the recommenders and have recommenders who will answer that email and get those in. You got to unfortunately follow up on those. This is where division of labor is helpful, parents. You wonder where you can be helpful in the process, where you really are helpful. I think in monitoring the school and make sure the school is and the recommenders are following up is, you know, email those teachers as appropriate for parents to be involved. Even if you wanted your daughter and son to really take control, I think it's appropriate for you to follow up there so they can spend their time writing essays, right? Because that's where they're really needed right now. All right, let's see. Sister Woodard, go ahead.
Hi, Deacon Wilson. So when you send these transcripts with just the salutation, attention to the Office of Undergraduate Admissions and Transcript Review, that's all you send is a transcript. You don't send anything else.
They don't put anything else in the envelope. They'll talk about you.
Okay, thank you.
And it'll be very interesting conversations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody raised their hand, I think. Speak right up.
Deacon,
Go ahead.
how do we for the Common App and for like when you're mailing the application, I mean transcripts to the school, how do you check up if they receive your transcript?
I'm so glad you asked that, Zion. You call the school and you follow up. Hey, I applied for the school. Did you get my transcript yet? I would do that a week later. And if you do that, there's a double blessing. They will notice that you called. They will mark the student called. That raises your interest index. Whenever you visit a school, make a call, go to the website sometimes and fill out things. This shows that if we admit you, you probably might come. Now, I said probably might, didn't I? That's the way they think. They're already wondering, are you going to come to the school if they admit you? So you get a double blessing, Zion, if you call and follow up. Because they'll wonder why you following up if you don't want to come. Hey, parents, it kind of makes you say, They'll be thinking they might want to come. It shows an interest in the school. Hope that helps, Zion.
That helps, but with the Common App too, will they, because the Common Black College app, whatever, they let me know that my transcript was uploaded, but will the Common App do that, or will it have to check?
No, the Black schools are totally different. They will let you upload your transcript.
Right.
Common App does not.
Yeah, it says a new document type official transcript has been uploaded by my counselor, and that was.
Okay, so you don't have to. That means you don't have to mail it. Isn't that nice? And notice. But notice, everybody, it's still true what I said. Notice what he said. It was uploaded by the counselor. So again, they're preserving that security and safety, right? Of knowing that he didn't do anything to it. Whereas a sealed transcript is the other way, right?
Right.
So yeah, it just means you upload it. That's unique to Black Common App. Okay.
So I just have to call. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, call them. Did you get it? I see you uploaded. Do you have it? If they didn't upload, that's a good question too, isn't it? Let's say that it wasn't uploaded to the school, or it was. I would do it either way. I'd follow up, period.
Yeah, I think we'll do that.
It gives you points. Call the admission office. Now, the problem is you'll be on hold for 10 years, but do it.
So maybe more of like a weekend type thing.
Yeah, or you just leave a message and then I'll call you back, right? Make sure you answer your cell phone this time of year.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Yeah, the count. That's right, Sister Woodard. Through Naviance, thank you, Sister Lambe. Through Naviance, a counselor could send a transcript. Hope that's clear. This page is in the case that the school doesn't do any of that. Okay, if your high school doesn't, then this page, this view graph is really important because you're gonna have to do it yourself, right? Okay. All right, let me go on here. All right, I thought a little color coding would be helpful to summarize. Who wants what? I mean, it should have said what school wants what, but you know what I mean. Who wants what? CSUs, nothing. That's all it was, a self-report. Cal State Universities. UCs, no transcript, no SAT, no recommendations. We have essays. Private colleges, they want everything. Okay. Public universities, the way I've coded this is interesting. Public universities. Transcripts, yes. I have SAT, yes, but I have a little pink area here. I couldn't make it red, right? The reason is because there are a few public universities that are test optional. We should send your scores. Okay. Then I went ahead and made this one totally pink. Because again, There's a few public universities where they might want a recommendation. They're very selective ones, like University of North Carolina. It's very selective. So kind of check the requirements for public universities, or just check with me, right? I can figure out what the site says, or I just know. Essays, again, a few out-of-state public universities require essays. So I couldn't make it red, right? Oops. So I couldn't make it red like this one, right? But I could make it pink to kind of say, well, most don't, a very few will. So I think you might find this useful, this chart here. Okay. Any questions on that? I think it's pretty straightforward. All right, we're winding up almost here. I don't want to have a lot of you graphs. How about the top don'ts of picking a college? This is in my opinion. And again, I'm coming from the perspective of, in my position is here at West Angeles, what I've seen over the years, over my almost 20 years of working with applications, and also my students, my 300 students in college now, and probably over 1,000 that have left college, graduated from college, just kind of watching things, some of the do's and don'ts. And I've watched why students have to come home sometimes, and that's always unfortunate. In our program, it's very few times, but I have seen it on people who didn't use, I get the calls from people who didn't use our program, and I've learned over the years. But there's some things that are unique to this being the year, and I will point those out. Because this year, class of 2022 is going to be the first class that comes sort of or mostly post-pandemic. All right, first of all, it's too early to decide. A lot of people pressure you, family or otherwise, to decide. Please do not. Even if early admitted and you get admitted, May 1st is the National Decision Day. And I want you to use your time to make a wise decision. If not, just to find out, you'll see in a moment. Don't pick for your friends in mind at all. If you pick your school, don't even start now thinking about if they go there, I want to go there. If not, don't even think about that. Just pick what's best for you. True friends will always be your friends, right? You will develop a whole new circle of friends in college. I know a lot of you parents know that in college, we met a whole string of new people, some of which we communicate with to this day. I went back to my high school's reunion, and some of those guys I hadn't seen since I was in high school. But in college, I have a couple of friends of mine I met in college that I still communicate with. Even if you commute or go locally, you'll still find a circle of friends in college. College is where you meet people. A lot of us met our first spouse or our spouse while we were in college. Please have a nice political no answer without saying no for your relatives who ask you where you're going to college. So where you going to college, Zion? Come on, Zion, where you going? They might pinch your cheek too, Zion, you know? Did he blush? Anyway, I need you to be able to say, I don't know, I'm looking over all my options. Right? You know, I'm thinking about all my options right now, or I'm considering all the colleges I'm going to apply to now. I'm looking into it. Don't feel pressured by people to tell you where you're going to go to college. There are a lot of very proud alums that do that stuff, but really it's put a lot of pressure sometimes on young folks. Don't pick only because of the name of the college. Don't try not to do that. Pick something that really fits for you as well. And this year, for the first time in 2 years, woohoo, don't pick without visiting. Parents, plan to visit your top 2 colleges at least, maybe even 3. That's why you have a lot of schools. It gets kind of hard to know where to visit. But you really need to visit your top 2 colleges. If you know what they are now, the top 2, consider a visit sooner than when you find out whether you're in or not, especially if you think there's a chance for admission. That's one of those things that admissions officers notice when they're making their decision if you visit it. I know it seems unfair that it can only help you to show interest in a school by calling the school to follow up, visiting. I don't think I've said this in a session recently, but these are all intangibles that help them to decide, if I admit the student, are they going to come to the school? And sometimes it comes down to that when it's between you and other students. I don't know how you address it. But the key thing is to know the schools you really want. So if you think you have a shot at getting in, figure out what it is. Now, some of these campuses have, they'll provide financial aid for your visit. Don't worry, they'll make sure you know about it, okay? They'll let you know if they're gonna fly you in or do things like that for you. They will let you know once they see your application and your transcript, okay? I hope that helps. Now, here we go. I was very prayerful about this because there's so much different for 2022. What are EEP's top factors in college selection, class of 2022? First of all, let's talk about wokeness. It's okay to be more aware of race issues. It's okay. But start thinking about where you draw the line. Do not attend a college that you believe is too woke. Now, I'm going to give you a definition for woke, and I looked a lot of different places, and I was amazed at how it's defined very similarly in many different places. I was quite surprised. Even the groups that are really considered to be sometimes a little too radical, they all agreed on the definition. It's alert to injustice in society, especially racism. We need to stay angry and woke, is one example I had. Some woke things happening on the campuses that might be too far for you or your parents. So just be aware of the things happening on the campuses, okay? Just be aware. Now, again, some of these may be okay with you, and that's fine. My job is just to tell you what I think is going to be a challenge this year. Now, wokeness has already been, too much wokeness has been a leading cause of stop out of my students. We just didn't call it wokeness. I just called it being too radical. I've always had students that have come home because they got too societally engaged. They dropped out of their classes or stopped going to class. Usually it's a professor that radicalizes these students. So you want to be aware. I'll cover that in another session. Racial hoaxes are very common. There was a really, really, really well-publicized hoax a couple of weeks ago. And I think it was at university. I was at Kent University, one of those schools. Anyway, some blacks. There were nooses hung somewhere, and it was found that in the video on the security camera it was black students that did that. This kind of thing is very common. I think happens at least 4 or 5 times a year. But racial hoaxes are sometimes an indication of how you'll just be aware that you'll have some students on that campus that may go a little far. It's unique to majority schools, of course. Student takeovers. Now, some takeovers, like the one we were referring to earlier, ironically, are not because of wokeness. It's because people want clean dorms. Now, I'm going to be very nice. I'm going to be as nice as I can be on this. Unfortunately, Howard is having some problems. And I've talked to my students who are at Howard because I thought maybe the story was overblown. I always give schools the benefit of the doubt. And unfortunately, I have to tell you, it is a problem, the cleanliness of the dorms, and it has been a problem for some time. But the student takeover I'm referring to here. So kudos to Sister Relaford for knowing about that. I'm glad she knew. By the way, how did you know Sister Relaford?
Hannah showed us the pictures.
How did she know?
Because they've had similar problems at Tuskegee.
Not like Howard.
Not so bad, like with the mold and the mushrooms coming out and all that, but
rats.
Yeah, she moved out of a dorm because they said that there was a rat, and so she moved out, which was great. She didn't get to see it and have to see it. But what they're having, their problem is the Wi-Fi is not working on campus. And I'm like, that's a part of the tuition that I'm paying for.
But this is a story at a lot. Okay, I'll go ahead and tell you. I've heard these stories at HBCU campuses off and on for 15 years. So it sounds like this millions of dollars they're getting from the feds is not helping. So,
and they got money from Mackenzie Scott.
Donor.
Yeah, formerly Mackenzie Bezos. She gave Howard the most. Yeah, Farron's been telling me about the same thing daily for like 2 months, all the problems since school started at Howard.
Oh, Lord. Let's continue here. I got a lot I want to say about this, but I got to watch what I say. No, I don't. Hey, look, this is a factor in picking your school, folks. That's what we're talking about here, right? It's funny how I don't hear about that specific problem, parents, in majority schools. I hear other problems, but not that problem. Okay. All right. Then as far as wokeness, you got to watch just too much of this CRT. Let me get something straight, students who are here. You are not oppressed. All white people are not oppressors because of their skin color. You can make it in America. Nobody's going to stop you. I want to be sure you know how I stand on this. America has racist people. It doesn't mean it's a racist country. And by the way, I know a lot of Black people that are racist. So don't let that, look, the question is there racism in America? Because there is. The question is, do you have an education enrichment director who believes you can overcome it? And I say, heck yes, you can overcome it. Okay, but if on the campus they're telling you you can't, then maybe that's a little too woke for you. I don't know. And then if it's not, I just warn you, she'll be okay. Then there's the cancel culture, where there's students on the campus who stand in social media want to cancel teachers. One teacher said, and the biology teacher at Evergreen State said, well, we have biologically two genders, male and female. Do you know they ran that man out of the school? They were threatening his house. They threw rocks to his house. They were rioting on the campus. And they basically canceled him. Administrators can be canceled. Coaches, there's a couple of coaches that got canceled a couple of years ago, actually last year. And yes, even they'll cancel students who are not woke enough. If you have a campus like that you're going on to, you should become very aware of that. Just please check that out. I think that's a factor in college selection. Let's continue. Sometimes you even see the loss of free speech, attacks on Christian groups, i.e. UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley students, Christian students are under regular oppression there and not able to speak freely even in their Bible sessions about gender and about abortion and things like that. That's too woke for me. That's too woke when you don't want people to speak. And I have even covered here schools that won't let certain speakers come to the school. They don't want them to hear from certain speakers. Whereas I think college should be a place where all different views are heard. So I think this is a factor, should be a factor in how you pick a college. I really do. I never thought the day would come where I'd have to say that, but I have to, you know, and there's a certain comedian whose name that I know you know, that had, I'll say this, he had some very good points he made in that recent Netflix. He made some very good points about society today. He was more of a teacher than a comedian when he was saying those things. All right, so as a Christian man, you know, I have to say a lot of that resonated with me. I don't like how he said it. Come on now, some of that stuff. Y'all know I don't like that. But I think he was saying things that were actually part of what I'm saying here in this view graph, okay? Next thing I want you to consider is COVID-19. That's a unique thing for class of 2022. No other class I had to say that to, of course. How will your campus handle these mandates? Please find out while you're considering schools. Sister Yolanda, go ahead.
I have a question, Deacon Wilson, just back to deciding factors for picking a school. One of the things I mentioned to Farron as she look at schools, and what I've definitely also been looking at, and I want to hear your input regarding this. I'm looking at schools too for her as a deciding factor, 90% retention rate within
I'll talk about that.
4 to 6 years. Yeah, because some of them are really low, and I was shocked. Some are like 50, 57. I'm like, oh no, I don't want you there, Farron.
Here's the only problem with that approach. It seems pretty safe, right? The only problem with that approach is that when parents do that, you're negating your positive upbringing and training.
Okay,
And I don't like that.
okay.
And the other thing is,
It's hard
the other thing,
for me not to have input.
I mean, look at this meeting. I want my people to hear this. I'm sitting here with Sister Woodard, top 3% parent. Sister Lambe, top 3% parent for years, top 3% parent. I'm sitting in here with Relaford, get out of here, top 3% parent, right? I feel like I don't want to see you all discounting your influence. I mean, even Sister Trigg, I mean, you too, Sister Trigg. I don't want to see you discounting your influence. And the other thing is, what about me? I'm an influence. I'm raising my hand. Hey now. I'm an influence too. I'm going to do things to help your students succeed in college because I'm part of the community. That's the only problem with those percentages. The second problem with the percentages is, you ready for this? They're not calculated the same way in every school. Okay? There's no federal way to do it. The feds try to do it on the Fafsa, but those are sometimes wrong. How do you count people who are enrolled part-time, people who enroll for certificates? They never graduate, right? So all those are important. Now, that being said, I think that part of the criteria picking my best colleges always is, how much intervention is there on the campus? How many places are getting help? Because sometimes percentages are lower for a reason, okay? And sometimes they're high for a reason that relates to how the campus operates. So all those are factors where I look more at the student and these things here. So you won't see that listed here, graduation rate or retention. I think I do cover that when I get to spring and talk about why the students stop out. Because there's really 5 reasons why they leave for college. I've alluded to one of them today. I told you that they get too woke. They're too involved in all the happenings that they can't pass their classes. That's one of the 5 reasons that they don't stop out. So if we look at percentages too much, we fail to look at ourselves and our students. Students, look at yourselves as what you can do to finish college in 3.5 or 4 years. That's what you need to do, so your parents don't take that much debt or as little as possible. Sorry for the long answer. Good question, though, I'll tell you that. So how will your campus handle the mandates? Vaccine required? Testing alternative offered? So if you've already decided to get the spike and you'll continue to get boosters, this does not apply to you. But there's a large percentage, and I'm not going to ask today, there's a large percentage of the Black community and Brown community that are vaccine hesitant. As a man of God who honors liberty, it's none of my business why. Now, I got the spike, but I got my shots, but I got them because I'm type 2 diabetes, and I'm 63, case closed. That was a personal decision. You young people may have decided, that you're vaccine hesitant. Maybe everybody in here is vaxxed, not a problem. But if you're not, and people are going to see this video, the question is, does the campus have a testing alternative? Can you be tested each week? Because there's some legitimate reasons. I had a young lady call me yesterday who has a medical condition that does reduce her immunity, but yet her school has told her she cannot graduate without getting the spike. I'm going to fight for her, okay? I'm going to offer to fight for her. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, CSU is requiring the vaccine and does not offer a testing alternative. Same with UC, they will not offer it next year. I have students who are getting ready to graduate who are telling me they're being pressured to take the shot and they have hesitancy about it. I'm just letting you know what I know. And this, again, if you've already decided you're going to take it and it's a safety consideration, that's what you're going to do, that's fine. But a lot of people are going to see this video who are not going to. My informal review tells me that about 20 to 25% of my families are hesitant with their students getting the spike, and they have the spike themselves. They have the vaccine, the jab, whatever you want to call it. So there's this thing of red states versus blue states. The red states tend to not have a vaccine requirement, and have testing alternatives, which was handy because you get in person, right? You can be in person with your teacher more so in those schools. There are some exceptions. I mean, Washington State's wide open right now too. Then you want to look at masking. If masking just drove you crazy and you just can't go to school with a mask, then maybe you want to wait, because it's something that's going to be required at a lot of schools. But it's not at a lot of schools too, depending on where you go. There's some states that are wide open. Is it going to be all the time masks are required? Are we going to have meetings? Are they going to be allowed to meet with students? One campus, you can't be found in groups of 2 or 3, more than 2 on the campus when you're like around the campus, okay? So you got to see how your school is operating with mandates. One clue is if you ask to visit a school, they're not yet allowing tours. That tells you a lot. City COVID-19 mandates and protocols. Does the city have unique mandates? Because you're going to have to go outside the campus. All of that's going to be something you should be thinking about at the time you make your decision. Who knows? You know, a lot of people like me think that we'll be in a totally different situation in the spring. A lot of this concern we have will be gone. I still think that. That's another meeting. I'll share that science with you some other time. All right, any questions on those? I have some more factors. Let's see about questions on that first. Christina, do we have one there somewhere? Christina? Quinn?
Yeah, she's on YouTube right now, but no, we don't have any questions.
Okay, she's over there. Okay, all right, good stuff. All right, let's continue on. The next thing I want you to think about is cost. Now, I'll have more information on this next couple of sessions to teach you how to read your financial aid award, because that's not easy to do, how to read those. It's not really easy. Please do not pick a school so you know clearly what the college will cost and have a family payment strategy. This is very important. Okay, so cost is a top factor. It's going to be the direct cost of the college minus the total relevant financial aid. So obviously I need to show you how to do direct cost and relevant financial aid, and I will do that in the next sessions and on videos that I send you. I'll just do a separate short video on direct cost, for example. Okay. Here's a little scripture about this. I do want to observe one part of it. For which of you, if you can believe Jesus said this, for which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. So we really want to be careful and be sure it's something we can actually complete and can actually do. So this is a very important scripture for me in Luke 14:28. Other factors, college fit. I don't know what to call this. Little things matter. Like Zion might feel like, you know, I'm not going to school unless a Starbucks is nearby. I'm not saying he's saying that, but he may feel that looking at 2 schools at the same price, that may be the determining factor. One time I was talking to a student about schools. Oh no, I should say this first. Every year on this matter right here, I get surprised. A student looks like they're going to take school A or school B, and when I get back to them, they pick school C. And sometimes little things matter. It really is. It really is that way. You know, little things do matter. I'm not talking about the big things, just little things, you know, like their rec hall is, their rec stuff is better. The dorms are nicer. You know, they have a finishing 4 program, or all these types of things are little things that could matter in picking the college. I consider money like a big thing, you know, and but there's some little things too that matter. I'm sure if I were to talk to these students for a minute, I could find, let me see about that. Hey, Farron. Farron?
Yes, hello?
What's up? Look,
Huh?
look, you can tell me, come on now. Tell me some things you have to have on your campus. Come on now.
I would have to say
Come on. Come on.
I think I'll have to say very clubs, mostly the parties. I know.
Or you
There's a-
got okay. Social events, yes.
Yes, a lot of social events, clubs. I know. Since I have my
Or opportunities to do that, right?
yes,
Don't
yes.
be afraid. Because guess what I'm gonna say? It might shock you. The deacon from Church of God in Christ will tell you this. I want all four of y'all to hear this. You're commanded, students, to have fun in college. If you don't have fun, I'm coming to get you and bring you home. Now, I want you to have balance, don't I? Right? That's cool, Farron. I like that. Let's find out what's going on. Let's see. Is it Brandon? Sharon? Sister Sharon? Does he hear me?
He hears you.
Brandon, come on, man. You can tell me. Come on. What do you need either near or on the campus?
What do you need near or on the campus?
Near?
Or on the campus? What are you looking for?
Something you like, man. Come on, don't worry about everybody else.
Party. She needs clubs. The other lady said she needs clubs. He needs food that he will eat.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned. Can I change it a little bit? Certain kinds of food, right?
Yes.
For example, I took a student to a school just the other day, and he was liking the school. I was just there, just came back. I had 3 students with me. I took a student over the other day. He said, Deacon, I really like the school. I said, no, you just told me. But no, I really like the school. I said, why? What's up? He just pointed across the way. We were in the student unit. He was pointing at the Chick-fil-A.
That's what we just.
What? What is happening to it? No. That seems like it's not a big deal. It's not a big thing, but it's big. It's huge. They matter. You know why it matters?
With Brandon, it matters.
Huh?
With Brandon, it matters because he doesn't.
Hey, Brandon, it does matter. In fact, just thinking about Chick-fil-A is making me hungry. They're closed on Sunday, but you know what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, between me and y'all, they got some nice breakfast sandwiches. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. They got chicken's all good. We know that. All right, so there you go, Brandon. I mean, you're not saying if I don't have it, I ain't going. But if it's down to that and one school has, one doesn't, I think he might go there, Sister Sharon.
I think so too.
I think that will happen. And that's
Could be a deciding factor.
It's fit. And another student who was on the last trip with me said, yeah, I'm looking at this school. You were right. I wasn't going to come visit. I said, why you like it? He said, oh no, it just feels like I should be here. Now, how do you quantify that? It's just a fit, right? That's what I mean by fit. It feels right. There's little things about it that make a difference. I wonder if I should go on this theme. Jordana, are you here or just your mother here? Jordana, is she here?
She just stepped out, Deacon. She's coming back. She
Okay, no
took
problem.
a bathroom break.
She left me. I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
I'll let you know when she's back.
All right, you do that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's go to Zion. Come on, Zion. You know I was going to you. What's up?
Yo.
Okay. Well, come on, tell me something. Kind of like wanted on your campus. Come on, man.
Hey, come here.
Zion, what do you think?
Yes, sir, brother. Sir, excuse me. When you're able to bring a car there, just come in.
The availability of a car. You want to find out when they're allowed that. That's a good question for black school. Some of these black schools won't let you do it at all the first year. I'll tell you a little secret. I agree with them.
Okay.
Deacon have a question for you.
Yeah, go right ahead, Sister Lambert. Oh, Jordana. Is Jordana there?
She's here now.
Jordana, pretend nobody's here, even your parents. What do you have to? What do you have to have on the campus to make it like good and fun or whatever? What do you need?
What do I need on a college campus to make it fun?
What do you need? Come on. Give me one thing it'd be nice to have.
A mini fridge, I guess.
I like that. So Mom, you got to make sure she has a fridge. What else? Something the college could have.
Something the college could have. A couch?
Oh, the furniture. You're into the furniture.
Oh,
What do they have?
Let me
to
give you an
have
example.
for there?
One of the students said they had Chick-fil-A, that'd be cool.
oh, if they had like a sports program, that'd be cool, or like a pool.
Oh, that's right. So sports program. What if they had a super club volleyball that plays other colleges?
Then yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
Ah, you should talk to me offline.
Mhm.
All right, Zion, any more comments, Zion? Anything else?
She actually just like sparked my memory about I wanted to be a gym there as well, like not just to
Like a
live,
rec
but
center? Like a rec center?
yes.
Cool. A nice
Also,
one.
like one of them fun centers, like they probably like the place at West Andes where they got the games,
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
and then a basketball court.
So there's schools that have those, yeah. All right, this is cool. Do y'all get the idea of this one, right? If the parents, you see what I'm saying, parents? It's about these little things mattering. Let me go ahead and finish up. The next thing is career path. Is there a career path for all potential careers? That's not the same as major, okay, guys? Remember, I talked to you before about don't be major driven, be career driven. I should have included here, for some people, is there room for my passion? Like if I'm really passionate about playing an instrument, is there like a little jazz thing I can be in? Or if I'm a singer, can I sing? These are all passions, not related to academic development and career. I didn't put that here, but career path is really important to have a way to get to my career using this school. All right. Those are the top factors in selecting a college for class of 2022. Now we're about done. I have one more view graph because this is by popular demand. Some parents have asked me, what are your planned travel dates to colleges, given that we're moving out of the pandemic? If everything stays the way it is, this is the way it looks today. Looks like Howard and GW DC trip would be December 5th and 6th. Now we haven't posted these online yet, but I'm going to give you visibility to it, parents, the ones who came to the meeting and see the video. The cost is going to be $450 to $500, given the interesting inflation rates we have now. Sonoma State depends on the COVID protocols at Sonoma State, but they tell me I'll be able to bring a group after December 1st, so that'd be December 10th. That'd be 140 to 220 to go up on a Friday and come back the same day. We would not stay overnight. The DC trip would be the 2 days. I show you that. I leave early, and we'll tour on the 6th and come back the night of the 6th. That's Sunday, Monday, by the way. University of San Diego's an Amtrak trip. It'll be right now, January 21st. It'll be $75 to $90 round trip on Amtrak. And Boise State, I just came back with a group, but I'm going to go back November 20th and 21st. They're $180 to $260. And they're a Sunday, Monday trip. Okay. All right. So that solves that. I'll see if there's any other questions. Oh, you can contact me, of course, for the things you want to talk to me about during the week. There's our email addresses. You got my phone number. All you guys do. Remember, our videos are at West Angeles EEP. Click on videos, and you can subscribe to the channel. Every time I produce one, you get a copy. Feel free to subscribe. Facebook is at West Angeles Education Enrichment Program. We are on there. I put a lot of times I'll put things on Facebook that I don't have time to cover in the meetings. And I'll do the same with the videos. You just can't. Things will come up between meetings. I don't want to wait. I want to get that to you right away if I get that information. There's a couple of videos I'm going to do that are based around the meeting today and go more into depth on a few things. I do want to say more about the people who are vaccine hesitant. I want to tell you, I feel a great concern and love for you. And I understand the pressure you're under, and try to, maybe turn off the TV a little bit. There's a lot of things happening that will provide you stress. And I just, maybe unlike other church people on this, I feel the love of God for you and your situation. Okay. And we'll have more to say about that through videos and other things. Just get a hold of me if you need more help with that. Okay. All right. That's all I had for today.